Andy,
Cameron,
what time did you start work today?
whenever the hell I wanted.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, we're going to have a conversation about, I guess, lifestyle and mixed in with a little bit of gratitude. And maybe some people will take this as inspiration or permission if you're interested in starting your own business or building your own lifestyle, or maybe working a little bit less or working a bit more flexible or working from home, whatever you might be interested in. But we're basically both really unbelievably grateful that we get to live these very charmed lives. You know, you asked the question of what time did you start work? And my answer is honest, whenever the fuck I feel like it. And the actual answer is like 6 a.m. because I like to get up early and start. But like whenever the hell I want. And I could go and sit in a park today and do absolutely nothing. And it'd all be beautiful. I could go for a walk for 10 hours today. You could, go and hang out with your friends. You could travel around the world, and you do. And we live these beautiful lifestyles. And all it really took was a big leap of faith and then just doing consistent content and not quitting for long enough until it starts to pay off. That's it. It's not like we did anything special, and it's not like this is impossible stuff.
No. What you need, Andy, is permission. I think that's what a lot of people, that's all you need. And I've seen a lot of gurus say this, and I know a lot of people probably scroll past posts when it's like, oh, the number one thing you need is to give yourself permission to chase this. But that is legitimately the main step.
Yeah.
That's the step. Yeah. There's one step. It's a one step to the house. That's all you need to do. And you take that one step. Once you have permission to chase that, to chase your own business, to chase, as Andy said, it doesn't even have to be your own business. It just has to be you going up to your boss and saying, I would like to work 3 days from home, something like that. Any step towards the actual work life that you want, like the actual life that you want to be enjoying. It's about giving yourself permission to go for it. That's what the main thing. That's the main point.
Yeah, and that was all we ever really did at the start. And it was a leap of faith. It very much was for me. It was just, I'm going to try this thing and see what happens. And to be clear, I didn't start my website to make money. I didn't make any money for the first year and a half. Like, it wasn't the intention. But as soon as I decided, okay, I want to try and make a single dollar from my website, that was just a leap of faith. I didn't think it was going to work out. I started a getting laid website. That was what I started doing. Really close to, like basically during lockdowns. I talked about this in a previous video. I talked about like, do you think it was, I don't want to use the word easy, but like, because it wasn't suffering, but like, it definitely wasn't super an easy, smooth road to build a getting laid business when the entire world was shutting down for 2 years. And all of my clients left, apart from Ed and Roger, the two legends that stuck there and helped me pay the bills. It wasn't easy, but it also wasn't suffering and it wasn't difficult. It was just like, take this leap of faith and don't quit. That was literally it. It's like, don't quit. Just keep going for years. And that's it.
I wasn't coaching with you at the time, but I remember being on the forum and just seeing like, oh, wow, no one's approaching. No one's really doing anything.
Nobody's trying to get laid during COVID times. Correct. Yeah. During
shout
lockdown,
out to the boys.
Nobody was.
Shout out to the guys who did the AA program lads who like the legendary group of people who did the AA fucking going up
wearing
and asking people to shake
and
their
social
hands.
distancing. Yeah. Remember Roger, big shout out to him.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, he's like super chill, super nice guy. And he was like, I don't want to give up my hopes and dreams, but I also want to respect people. And so he'd like go up to women and he'd like wave at them from a distance and he'd have his mask on and he'd social distance. And he said he'd give them like a good, 10 feet. He'd be like almost yelling at them from a distance. And he'd be like, do you mind if I talk to you? And he said lots of them would just like fucking leave. And he'd be like, okay, bye. And like the ones that would talk to him, they just yell at each other and shit. He'd be like, hi, I think you're cute behind the mask, I guess. And he said, most of the women were the ones, he said he was constantly surprised that the women would step closer to him and come up to him to keep talking. And he'd be like, oh, okay. So, yeah, big shout out to the boys who were just like, I'm going to nothing's going to shut me down during this stuff. Yeah.
There was a point during COVID where there was like, everyone had like a simultaneous fuck it moment. And it was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 months in. It was in the second load of lockdowns. Everyone was like, fuck this. I'm not pausing. I'm not stalling. And they gave themselves permission to still go and chase their shit, even though there was a lot of obstacles. And it comes back to it. Like, you just need to give yourself the permission to, and it goes to all goals. But I think specifically we're talking about chasing freedom in your financial life and freedom when it comes to escaping the 9 to 5 is what I suggested the title should be. Because I think you hear like, there's a lot of memes around like Sunday scaries, you know, people being afraid to go back on Monday, people hating Mondays. Like I don't fucking what do you call it? Not empathize. I don't feel like Garfield anymore. You know, I don't hate Monday. I love Mondays. Mondays are my favorite day of the week because I get to I actually go super hard on Mondays.
Dude,
I love Mondays.
Yeah. Ask me what my favorite day of the week is.
What is your favorite day of the week? All Monday. Of them. Oh, I think I say all of them. I think it'd be like super
Monday's my accountability check-in day. Monday's my day off. Monday is
your
my
day
one day off a week.
I thought it was Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nope. Moved it to Monday.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I tried this. Okay. This is a technical thing. When you work your own business stuff, or you work clients or whatever, you work freelance, you can pick your weekend. And after several like years of, I used to rail against the idea of weekends. I think it's stupid to have everyone on the same weekend. I've done this rant in the coaching group before where I'm like, why didn't they just assign everyone different weekends? So we have to shut the whole fucking country down on like Sunday and Saturday. But now, I just not everything. But now I take my weekend on the normal weekend because I just like the fact that it's kind of slow on Sunday and I can just kind of chill and do nothing. But I do go. If I have to go shopping, I like to do that on the daytime in the week so that I get like more of a free run of like shopping centers and grocery stores. I much prefer going to the gym during the working hours. So my gym time is usually about 10 a.m. Like I try and get some work done in the morning and then I go to the gym. I actually got that off you because I remember you saying in a long time ago podcast, that the best time to go to the gyms is like 9:30 a.m. onwards when no one's there and you just get like a free run at the equipment. That's one of my favorite things about the freedom actually is it allows me to go to the gym like and enjoy it because I really don't enjoy being in a packed gym. And I think one day I will have my own gym.
You get to escape. I don't know if escape's the right word, but you get to be free of and not even worry about a lot of the stuff that almost everybody stresses about, like weekends and Monday. You know, like the weekend's almost over, it's Monday. Most people have like almost like visceral panic when it's Sunday evening. Whereas for us, it's like, what's to panic? Every week is the same as every other week in a beautiful way. Like, every day is the same as every other day in a beautiful way. Like every day I get to wake up and work on the things that I'm passionate about and be surrounded by people that I love and am grateful for, which I'm referring to all of you in the audience. Like, what a blessed, charmed fucking existence. And things like you said, dealing with a busy gym. Not that that's like the worst thing in the world, but like you don't even have to think about that. You just like, I go to the gym whenever I feel like it. Dealing with peak hour traffic, which again, doesn't have to be something that stresses you out, but the vast majority of human beings do not like driving to work at 8 a.m. when it's busy. And I walk around at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and then 5 p.m. and I see all the cars lined up and I see a visceral change in the energy. Like you'll see people just honking at each other because they took 0.1 milliseconds to go after the light turned green. Or, you know, a pedestrian's walking across the road too slowly and the car will honk and people just become irate and unbelievably unhappy during peak hour traffic. And then why would we even be thinking about that? We get to work whenever the hell we want. There's not even a concept in our head of like peak hour traffic. And even when you're in peak hour traffic and you're driving, it's like, yeah, but I'm not in a rush to go anywhere. I'm not going to be late for work, or I'm not stressed and wanting to go home and see the wife and kids or whatever, because it's like I can see them. Not that I have wife and kids, but like if I did, I could see them whenever I want. So yeah, all of this is again to say that I'm unbelievably grateful that we're in this position, grateful to all of you watching that we're in this position where we can work whenever we want. And all it really required was us to give ourselves permission and then take action. It's just a series of steps and then do it over a long enough period of time and it pays off. It's funny that, you know, people say, what is the secret to, you know, working your own lifestyle? What is the secret to making money? And it's literally just try. Just try and don't quit. That's it. Go try, don't quit. And you say, but what if I try and I fuck it up? Well, then just keep fucking it up for long enough, like you and I did. Like we made a million, I don't like the word mistakes, but we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We stumbled a billion times. You and I together have a beautiful moment that we went through where it's like one of the biggest stumbles that we ever went through. You were one of my coaching clients, and we've talked about this in past content. You were one of my coaching clients, and you and I both sort of came to a head and were like, hey, we can't work together. Like, I don't want you to be my client. We went through that. That was like one of the biggest stumbles, but who gives a shit? You just keep going. That's the secret to building a business. One day, maybe I'll do a video course or a book on building a business. It'll be 2 sentences long. Hey, just try, don't quit. There you go. There's your video course. Pay me $1. Thank you.
Yeah, we're sitting here being grateful now, and like we absolutely want everyone to realize it's not been plain sailing. I don't know how much content there is of Andy just being like stressed about finances on the video stuff, but Andy's been one of the most open content creators on the platform. I'd put him up against anyone, not that it's a competition, but you know what I mean. And like the amount of times he sat down and been like, I'm stressed about money. And like, yeah, that's something that comes up when you are a business, you're running your own business and you're responsible for your income. And it's like a thing where it's all dependent on how much work you put in. And it's all dependent on how much, like how good you are and how much value you actually give back to your clients and all that stuff. So yeah, it's not been smooth sailing at all, which is why we're sitting here so grateful for like what it's given us. Like there's a reason we're doing this stuff. I remember you saying, forgive me if I'm misquoting you here, but you said you'd rather be homeless than go back to like working like some kind of like 9-to-5 job.
Oh yeah, I felt like that within like, I don't know, the first 6 months of coaching people. Like within 6 months, I was like, yep, I'm never going back to a normal job ever. Like I made a promise to myself at that point. And now it's not even a promise. It's just like the truth.
Why would
you get what I mean? Like, yeah, it's not even something I ever think about. Like if someone came up to me and said, hey, I'm putting a gun to your head. You have to go and work a 9-to-5 job or I'll kill you. Not that that's ever a realistic situation, but I'd be like, hey, I understand. You can pull the trigger. I won't hold it against you. I won't blame you. And they'd pull the trigger and I'd be dead. Like, and that's not, like I said, there's not even a struggle there. There's not like, no, I'm never going to work a 9-to-5. No, it's just like, no, that's just like not me. I'm not a 9-to-5 person anymore. I'm not a job person. I'm not working for someone else. That's just, and that's another beautiful gift. We don't have to work for anyone. I know you do content for me, but okay, here's a question for you. Does it feel like you work for me? I'm genuinely curious. Like,
no, you make it very much like a partnership because we've like, it's more the relationship between us is like, it would never have worked if you tried to impose yourself as some kind of like boss man. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't like,
it's not me anyway.
Yeah, it's not you anyway. And then the other person I work for, technically,
your other
I have like, yeah, it's like, that's not in any, that's a partnership too. Like we're actually setting up a company full on split business partners, or we're setting up a company and we're both on the board, if that makes sense. So it's like a 50-50 split. So
do you think
it's like
one of the work. Sorry, finish your thought.
No, go on.
Do you think you could work for someone else? Like traditional boss? Yeah.
I never had any issue with it. But there are things I'm not willing to give up. So it would have to be, I'm working for you, but there are some conditions. And if you can meet these conditions, complete freedom of time and choose when I work would be one. Complete freedom of location. It would be location and choose hours, choose location, and you can't limit the country. So they'd have to be happy to me living literally anywhere. But if someone was willing to meet both of those requirements, which I don't know too many jobs where they will literally, maybe like if I was being backed in poker or something like that. That's one of those. No, but that's like freelancing, if that makes sense. Or
okay.
I don't want to send someone a timesheet. It'd be a case of you pay me this amount, and everything I've come to is just a client freelancer relationship. That's work better for
what
me.
You're doing with me and your other channel. It's like I just pay you per piece of content that you put on my channel, or ebooks and shit that you write. And it's like,
we have a coaching
I even say
deal.
to you, yeah, and I say to you, I don't. Okay, so yeah, that's the only bit that is a contract, I guess we could say. I do pay you for being a coach in the program, and that's like a wage.
I invoice you, yeah. Like the way I view it is like I'm like a contracted coach on that front.
Yeah, but that's
it's
essentially like a wage.
Yeah,
But
and then my
most of
actual
your money
business. The actual business I
I'm
control
sure.
fully is like the third thing. So like there's three things going on. Like with me, it's a little bit more complicated because I've got like three different ventures going on, but they all make me more than I make enough money to live in Vancouver, which I think is one of the most expensive, like top 10 most expensive cities in the world. So like I'm doing fine. It's just that it's not like, if you looked at how I'm making money, it's not quite like I built a business and I built it up and I'm making all the money from one business. No, I've got three income streams and I just manage all three, and they're all kind of contract invoice kind of setups, except for one.
Well, I think that's a beautiful point to make. There's different ways. If anyone is listening to this and goes, hey, I'm interested in sort of like working a little bit less or building my own thing, you can do it multiple ways. You can do it kind of the way that I ended up doing it, where you build your own thing. You can do it the way Cam's doing it. You can have like multiple little side hustles. Like
mine's so messy.
You don't have to just start a business.
Mine's so messy, and I listen to a lot of guys who just advocated doing it the exact opposite way that I'm doing it, and a lot of reasons. Like I'm you and me are partnered up to a degree. Like obviously I invoice you and everything like that, but we're friends, and it's like there's a lot of advice being like, don't work with your friends, but then you completely steamrolled that advice because you work with your girlfriend, and
that's what I was gonna say.
I
built a business with my girlfriend and my best mate.
Yeah, so it's like yeah, it's silly, isn't it? To like we don't and like my relationship with my business partner on the other side is also against a lot of the advice. So it's like, yeah, the only thing that I've built that's like kind of orthodox is my style stuff, my stylist, like fashion consulting business stuff. That is more orthodox and built more like Caleb recommends or like Hormozy recommends. But like everything else I've used to make money is so like breaking the rules. And that, to be fair, Hormozy, he says there are no rules, and I agree. There's no rules. Everyone does I think this is the thing about, I was doing a video about college and whether or not college is worth it. And I was making the argument, like almost like devil's advocate, because I went to college and had a good time, and I don't actually tell guys. I tell guys like, if you think the experience is going to be worth it, go to college. Like it's completely fine if you like the idea and you like the idea of the experience. The other thing I said was, you can seriously make a lot of money from networking if you set yourself up in the right colleges. So if you go to like the colleges that are known for networking and making connections, those will literally just pay dividends later in life. Like people will be able to get you jobs. And like the relationship that I built with you has turned into a business partner. Do you know what I mean? Like you can lean on the connections that you have if that's something you're really good at. And we know people who are great at like building social connections. And if you can literally just leverage that. You don't have to be some guy making a product or making a coaching service. You can be someone who is more like I did that test, the wealth test, where I'm more of a support player to some degree, or at least I have a lot of stuff that would benefit me being a support player. And you can make a lot of money being like in a contractor way. You can make a lot of money being that support player who goes into businesses. That's what a consultant is at the end of the day. They go into businesses and they build the support structures, or they do the work in the background that the company needs to hire out to. And you can make a lot of work doing that in so many industries. You can just look at your skill sets and be like, you probably wouldn't be able to think of all the industries you can go into. Like you wouldn't be able, like you'd have to almost stumble into it. Like I think a lot of people do stumble into where they're going to make a lot of money in like a freelance contractor kind of way.
I did.
Yeah. I had no idea I was going to make money in the main thing, in the original thing I make money from, like the other channel. Yeah. I had no idea I would ever end up. I actively tried to stay away from that market.
And given I know what that channel is, I'm still to this day impressed. I'm like, that's really cool that like you make money from that, and the content, the channel owner makes money from that. I'm like, that's really fucking cool.
That's really cool. Almost run away from that market, and now I've ended up in it, like just doing stuff, and I'm just like, for God's sake. And it was like something I knew really well, just from other reasons, like stuff you grew up around, stuff you're really interested in. There's so much opportunity out there. And you can get your start if you want to go and get your start in something, kind of like I did with Andy, which is just like, sidling into someone else's business and being like, what can I do to help you? Do you have a position? That kind of stuff. And then that can lead into you doing something on your own. We have a friend who he used to do we actually have a lot of friends who do home service businesses. That's actually a lie. We've got more than one. But the one that I'm thinking of, the original Gravy Train, he worked for someone in their business for a year, I believe, in order to work out how to do it. And he chose someone in a different, he went to a place that wasn't going to be his competitor, So he went to a different city and he said to the guy, I want to do this. I won't be your competitor because I'll be doing it elsewhere. Will you take me in for like, will you employ me so I can learn how to do it? And that's like, I think that's how a lot of contractors, like proper contractors, I mean, like tradies, I think that's how a lot of them get started, is they get, apprenticed. But you can do that without actually having an official apprenticeship. You can just go and walk into a business that you would want to emulate and learn from someone who's already, winning in that industry. Anyway, these are just some ideas, throwing them out there. Don't feel like you have to be immediately successful straight away as well. Like I would, you have our permission to do like a runway. Although I know you didn't. You kind of just ran. You kind of just jumped into the water.
I wanted to, though, but lockdowns. I lost my job, and that's yeah. I was so. What Cam's talking about?
You had to single swim.
Yeah, there's sort of two. You can kind of think of it as two different ways to start a business. There's multiple ways, but like you can either decide, right, I'm just going to go all in with this business, and I'm going to figure out how to make it work, and I'm sort of going to quit my job and just sink or swim. And maybe you have some savings saved up and like a year's worth of savings. And you're like, I have 1 year to make this business work. That's one way of doing it. And there's pros and cons. And then the other way is you just slowly build up like a side hustle. You work on the weekends, maybe in the evenings after work, and you keep your normal job. That's another way of doing it. I did the first one, but it wasn't by choice. It was because I lost my job from lockdowns. I wanted that to keep that job. I loved that job. So yeah, there's different ways of doing it, but at the end of the day, probably the easier way if someone can't choose, and what we generally recommend to people is like, just keep your normal job and slowly build up a side hustle. And as the income increases, you ask your boss, yo, can I work one less day a week? Or can I have Fridays as a half day or something? And if not, then maybe you go get a different job and you just work part-time. But I would recommend that, slowly transition to a business. And so then there's no pressure because you're like, I can pay the bills. I can build this business over the next 5 years if I want to. There's no time pressure. And then if at some point it starts succeeding, I can quit. If not, that's cool. I'll try a different business, or I'll tweak something or do something and adjust something. You have unlimited time essentially.
Yes. I really want to make a point here about the Facebook group and talking to guys who have done this. Like we've had a couple of guys who were like, I'm thinking about quitting. I'm thinking about quitting my job and I want to start something. And we said to them, and this is going to this might blow some people's minds, and I want it to, but that is, nothing bad happens if you quit your job and try and do something and fail. There is a catastrophizing that goes on. I've butchered that word.
There is, isn't there? Yeah.
In your head about that, because everything, I think it's because societal programming to some degree. Everything's like, that would be an absolute disaster. You'll be embarrassed. You'll be on the streets homeless because you kind of, there's a lot of shit, but you will probably be okay. Maybe not everybody. Maybe some people will have the catastrophe, but a really small number. Maybe no one.
1 in 1,000 people will have a catastrophe, and then guess what? You'll just get your shit together. It's fine.
Yeah, you'll get a new job, or you'll just go back to getting another job. You will probably be okay. You probably have enough runway in your life to give this a go. And even in the most extreme example, like Andy did, you'll probably be okay if it goes tits up. And I want people to know that, so they have a little less suffering about and agonizing about the decision. Whatever you do, you will likely find a way to be happy. But we want to give you, we just want to give you a push towards what you want. And if you're admitting that you want this stuff, we're trying to give you a little gentle push towards what it is you actually want.
Yeah. And if you don't want this stuff, why the hell are you still listening at this point? But if escaping the 9-to-5 or building a side hustle or starting your own business or even working for someone else for their business, if that is something that appeals to you, nothing bad happens if you, quote, fail. Most entrepreneurs fail most of their business ventures. And it's not even a failure. Any entrepreneur will tell you, bro, it's not a failure. What the fuck are you talking about? I just tried something. It didn't work, so I tried something else. How is that a failure? That's like saying, okay, I want to learn to play tennis. And you go out into the tennis court, you hire a coach, you're holding your tennis racket, you take your first swing at the ball and you miss. Imagine if you're like, oh my God, I failed. I can't believe I failed. How did I fail? Why am I such a failure? Oh my God, tennis is so scary. I shouldn't practice tennis. I failed. It's like, what are you talking about? That was just your first attempt and you missed the ball. Try again. And you keep doing it and then you get it and you hit it and it goes over the net and it goes in. You go, whoa, I did it. There is no failure, but people make money And relationships, dude. Bro, I reckon it's money and relationships are the two things that people look at it as if it's a win or a fail. Especially with relationships, right? They're like, either we're together for the rest of eternity or we failed. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's such an insane condition. How about just we had a good time together? That's a success.
I've
What
repeatedly
does it
said
matter if it was forever?
On other, I think on other videos as well, I said like a breakup doesn't equal failure in a relationship. It just means that was
People think it does.
Yeah,
people are like,
Not
hey,
always.
we decided that we wanted to go separate ways. Oh, that's a failure. It's like, oh, you just went separate ways. Why is that a failure?
Yeah, some relationships were dumpster fires. We're not saying there aren't dumpster fire,
Even then, you
absolute
learn
train wrecks
from
of
that.
relationships. Yeah. There's
learn.
reasons
go,
to be happy, but there are plenty of hyper successful relationships that still ended. You know what I mean? Like you were getting what you wanted, and then suddenly you weren't getting what you wanted, so you quit the relationship. If anything, it was more of a success because you recognized the need for the breakup. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah. You learned that you weren't happy, and now you're a little more certain of what you want or what you don't want. And now you can go into the next relationship, and you can look at business the same thing, especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur or start your own business or start your own little side hustle. Yeah, you might try some things and then you ultimately don't end up doing that. You just tweak and change things as you go. Like, remember that I started all of this. How I started this stuff, well, first I had a website and I wasn't, making any money. I wasn't trying to. But from the moment I said, okay, I'd like to make $1, I had no idea how to make that first dollar. Literally, it took me like 9 months to make my first dollar from the moment where I said, I want to make $1. And how I started was I would edit people's Tinder photos. I don't do that shit anymore. I could say that's a failure. I failed to build a business of editing people's Tinder photos, but no, I just tried something else. That wasn't going to make me very much money because guess what? People don't pay you very much money to edit their Tinder photos. And so I just segued and tried something else. Then I reviewed people's Tinder profiles and I wasn't making much money from that. It was like $50 and it took me like about 6 hours worth of work. And so that didn't really work out. So I segued into coaching. And so you can kind of tweak things and change things as you go. The thing that you do at the start doesn't have to be and probably won't be the thing that you're doing later on. Like I probably won't be doing, I'm just going to come out and say, I really don't think I'm going to be doing what I'm doing right now 3 years from now. I don't think I will be a coach 3 to 5 years from now. I just don't think I will. I think there's other things I want to do. And so that's not a failure. That's just a different chapter. You're slowly like evolving as you go. So don't think of business as failure or success. I mean, nothing's really failure or success, but especially business.
But do be aware that your time is limited to join the coaching group and get Andy as a coach. So if you look at the links down below and feel that time pressure on that, now that you know he wants to leave the coaching profession, you feel that time pressure. You have to sign up now. You have to. I want you to feel the force of this. We are joking.
I don't want anyone.
No, I know. And you would be like, if someone picked up an email to you or something, be like, I think you're going to quit coaching. I need to get coaching now. You'd be like, all right, is that what you want? Is that actually what you want?
That is how I start every single like inquiry with coaching. I'm like, do you want this? Like, obviously they would if they're going to pay it. But yeah. To be clear, Cam's joking. But like, there is truth in that. I am going to stop doing coaching at some point. I'm also, and this has been a thing.
You might come back to it as well. You might not stop forever.
I can't predict the future. Yeah. And the coaching obviously goes up in price over time. So there's all of that. But yeah, like to bring it back to the original point, I guess, what a beautiful fucking charmed life we live. Do you ever wake up and feel just like, do you ever have those moments of where it feels surreal? And you're like, what the fuck? I didn't have to go to work today. Like I get to do whatever the hell I want. I still have those to this day. And I've been doing this for years.
My gratitude is more to do with location. So I'm more grateful about I can't believe I'm like not in the UK. That's awesome.
Yeah, I get to.
But like I said, like that,
wherever the hell I want.
Yeah, like I said, like I could see myself working for someone, like in an official employee relationship, but it would have to be like, as I said, with the stuff I already know I can't give up, and I can't give up travel, and I can't give up. What was the other one? The time. I can't give up time and travel, and those two things. Location and hours tend to be quite like high on the list of like things that employers want. So I might have to figure out other things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's why a lot of people start a business. There are lots of people that start a business literally just so that they can be location independent or time independent. Like literally, they're like, I'm not even passionate about this business. Not that you're not passionate about it, but like they started a business so that they don't have to work for someone else. Whereas I did the opposite. I started this because I was like, well, I am so unbelievably passionate about doing this content, and going to work every day means that I literally just don't have as much time to write content. And it felt like it was like yanking at my heartstrings. I was like, I really would give anything to be able to do more content. So that was why I started it. But there are people that just started to make money.
Yeah, I feel like I wanted to make it really clear. Like, I don't personally have any issue of things like ceding control of the direction of the business, or ceding control of like, or even acknowledging like a hierarchy like that I'm not at the top of. Which I think there are guys out there who know that they just can't take orders. Almost is the way I would describe it. And that's I've never had that issue. Like, I have always been able to work within those hierarchies and everything. They're just other things that come with it that I don't enjoy. I just don't and can't like compromise with anymore.
Yeah, all these different reasons for starting a business. And again, if anyone is interested in starting their own business, like, it really is just permission. It's just start trying. And I guess you can also say, don't expect to be rich overnight. Every now and then I'll get someone that says, hey, Andy, I want to sign up for coaching. Like, do you think that I can make, this much money in the next like 3 to 6 months? Like, basically, how can I get rich quick? And I'm like, well, I don't know anything about that, because that's not how I've done it. And that's not how any of my clients have done it. And that's not how anyone I know that's rich has done it. And that's not how all the millionaires that I've read and watched videos from have done it. Like, literally, I don't know anyone. Like, I can't even think of anyone right now who's an overnight success. The only exceptions to that might be people like some ridiculously fucking hot woman who's on Instagram and makes an OnlyFans or some shit and just blows up overnight. That's like the only exception I can think of. Or some
people exaggerate that though. You don't see the work behind building those accounts. You understand. Often. You've done OnlyFans. You understand the work. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've helped other girls build their own OnlyFans.
And you have friends who have built OnlyFans accounts for people, and it's like there is a lot of work that goes into it, and it's like it's not one of those things where it's like a business. Like a lot of the girls who do that stuff they're just, you just look good and you're like doing sex on camera and whatever. It's like, no, there's it's so competitive now as well. Like the attention on those sites and Instagram, you can't just be I'm guessing there are still people who can, but like that whole like hot girl on Instagram has like a full on like content line production for her like Instagram. Like almost certainly anyone with a massive account probably has like the entire thing planned out, probably has multiple people working with them as well to make sure the content is always going out. So like, yeah, it's just people just don't understand the work that goes into these online accounts and these influencers, to be honest. That's just my little 2 cents from someone who's worked behind an influencer.
At the same time, don't be intimidated by the work. Like you can start this stuff really small. If you're starting your own business or starting your own side hustle, you start really small. If you're offering a service or something, just start by doing it for free for a little bit to get some testimonials, and then just start charging $1 and then $2 and then $3. Slowly like ramp that shit up. If you're going to sell a product, just sell it super cheap. Yeah, that's all I ever did. Remember that I did a couple for free, and then I was charging like $10 for an hour, and they really ended up being like 3-hour coaching calls. And then I slowly charged like $15, then $20, then $25, then $26, then $27, then $28, then $30, then $35. I slowly ramped that shit up like over a really long period of time. So you don't have to be Mr. Amazing from the start.
Do you remember when I charged 50 and I messaged you and you were like triple it? I remember that. It was the first one of the biggest bits of coaching you ever gave me. Was like, I'm charging $50. You're like, you're charging $150 now, bitch. I'm like, okay, Andy.
Because that was the advice that had been given to me from Dan Henry, where I paid for that seminar that I went to, and it was called like Raise Your Prices Challenge. And I put my price out by like 10 times. No, 5 times. I 5 times my price over a weekend of like working with him, where the challenge was basically like, can you all charge more? And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to double it. What if you did more than that? Fuck it. Okay, I'll triple it. What if more than that? Okay, fine, I'll go 5 times. And that was scary. But that's like several years into the business, to be clear. But the way that you ramp up at the start is do some shit for free. Because a lot of people don't start a business because they're like, I'm not confident enough. I don't know how I could help people. I don't know what my product would be. And it's like, do you really not think that you could sell something if it was completely free? Which might sound like an oxymoron, sell for free. But like, do you think you could give something away and somebody would say yes to it? And pretty much everyone is like, well, yeah. If I had some I did a coaching call with a guy recently who was making jewelry, and he was like, I've never sold any jewelry. And I was like, bro, I could sell your jewelry. How? I'd sell it for 50 cents. And then I'd get some testimonials from people. Then I would start selling it for $1, then $2, then $3, then $4. And so you can sell it basically for free and get some testimonials and some self-confidence. It's more that than the testimonials. It's the confidence to then charge $1 and then charge $2. If I can get someone to, if someone wants to buy this, or if I can get someone to buy this for $1, then I can get someone to buy it for $2. If I can get someone to buy it for $2, then I can find someone to buy it for $3. And you just slowly ramp that shit up. That's all I ever did. You don't have to be perfect. Anything else on the discussion of business, gratitude, lifestyle? Anything else?
I think we covered it all, man. I'm very happy with the video. Do have a look at, it was a joke earlier, but do have a look at the coaching below. There'll be some,
Hell yeah.
if you wanted to kickstart going towards what you want, we help guys move places. We help guys work out what they actually want to do with their lives. We help them go after it as well. We actually give some advice on, the technical stuff too. Occasionally, when we get past all the spiritual and all the motivation, there is also technical advice.
We've helped, at this point, I think 6 or 7, might even be 10 people literally start a business from nothing. From the point where they're like, I don't even know what business I could possibly start. And then within their time in the coaching, they make their first $500. We had a guy that made $1,500 by the time he finished coaching. So yeah.
You'll start a business you'll start a business and you'll move city. Those are the 2 things I can promise you.
Lots of people do end up, it is a meme or a joke at this point in this channel, but lots of people do sign up and then halfway through the coaching, they're just randomly like, fuck it, I think I want to move. And for us, it's always out of left field. We're like,
you're saying that. Yeah.
Why are you moving? And they're like, and then they're like, nah, fuck it. And then 4 weeks later, they're out. We've helped them. They've moved and all of that kind of shit. So it is something that just keeps randomly showing up in the group. People are just like, fuck it, I'm moving. So,
do you know how I know why? Do you know how I know that when I did the move video, should you move for getting laid or whatever like that? There was a couple of bad reactions, and I knew from the strength of the bad reactions that it's what a lot of guys want to do. Just when you see people, when you see people have strong emotional reactions, you hit a nerve with something that a lot of guys desire to do, and so many guys have I want to move, I want to see what it's like somewhere else. And I think that's a good sign, actually. If you post a video and there's no strong emotional bad reactions, maybe you haven't quite dug into that nerve that you were looking for. But you've definitely found something that's worth talking about if it does happen. Yeah.
Faux show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, once again, super grateful to all of you for allowing me to have this beautiful lifestyle. If you would like coaching and help on this, link down below. Thank you. Thank you, Cam. Thank you, universe. Thank you, baby Jesus. And most of all, thank you, Byron Katie. I love you. And guess what? Because you're an absolute legend and you stuck around to the end, you get to hear about my amazing one-on-one coaching deal that I'm offering just for a limited amount of time. Oh my God. That's right. I'm offering one-on-one coaching with me and access to my group coaching program. You get to sit down with me and do a one-on-one call every single week, as well as a group coaching call every single week. You get access to me every single day. You can send me messages. I will get in there. I will build you that amazing life that you have been dreaming of, whether that's sex, whether that's dating, money, relationships, happiness, peace, whatever it might be that you want. Let's make it happen together. And if you pay in full, you get an extra 4 weeks instead of the usual 3 months. Here is just a little bit of what some of our clients have achieved. Taylor had a threesome, tons of sex, embraced honesty with girls he's dating, embraced peace and love, and he's a coach in our program too. Laz, look at this handsome guy, and I'm not just saying that because he's bald. He more than doubled his monthly income, earning $45K a month. He had a ton of sex, embraced honesty, and did so much more. Corky had a threesome, sex with 7 women. We helped him start his own business, and he learned to love himself. And look at that cool BDSM picture. Legend. All of that and more is yours for $20,000, and we have payment plans as long as you pay $10K up front, and we can negotiate the rest of the payment plan. Link in the description below. Click that, mention that you want one-on-one coaching, and let's do something amazing together. Limited time only. This is the only time I'm going to offer this. Let's go, baby.